Welcome back to the Everyday English Vibes podcast, where we turn everyday English into easy conversation. I'm Olivia.
And I'm Leo. And today, we're diving into a super fun topic, understanding humor and jokes in English. Because let's be real, sometimes the hardest part of learning a new language is knowing why everyone's laughing, when you're not.
Exactly. English humor is often filled with wordplay, cultural references, irony, sarcasm, and double meanings. If you don't catch the context or the pun, it can feel confusing.
But don't worry, we've got your back. In today's episode, we'll break down what makes something funny in English, explain a few types of jokes and wordplay, and even share some examples that will hopefully make you laugh, or at least make you go, "Ah, I get it now."
Okay, let's start with something simple, puns. A pun is a joke that plays with the multiple meanings of a word, or with similar-sounding words. For example, I used to be a banker, but I lost interest.
That one's a classic. So, interest here has a double meaning. It could be money interest from banking, or just general personal interest. It's that play on words that makes it funny.
Right? And English loves puns. You'll find them in ads, dad jokes, TV shows, even news headlines.
And speaking of TV shows, humor in English often includes cultural references. For example, if someone says, "he pulled a Homer," that might be confusing unless you know about the character Homer Simpson and his classic behavior.
Exactly. Without that cultural background, the joke can go over your head. That's why immersing yourself in English culture, watching shows, listening to podcasts, or even following memes, can help a lot.
Another tricky type is sarcasm. For example, if someone walks into a room soaking wet and someone says, "Wow, nice weather today," they don't mean the weather is nice. They are being sarcastic.
Sarcasm relies on tone, and it can be hard to pick up in text, but once you tune your ear to it, you'll start catching it more easily.
And then there are jokes based on idioms or expressions. Like this one, why did the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field.
I love that one. Outstanding in his field usually means someone is really good at their job, but in this case, the Scarecrow is literally standing out in a field.
So you see, understanding English humor often means knowing both the literal and figurative meanings of words.
And paying attention to context. For example, jokes can totally fall flat if you miss the tone or situation.
Yep, and humor really depends on delivery too. A big part of what makes a joke funny is how it's said. The timing, the facial expressions, the pause before the punchline, all of those things matter. In English, we call that comic timing.
Totally. Even a simple joke can sound hilarious or awkward depending on how it's delivered. Like, if you say the punchline too soon, people won't laugh because they're still processing the setup.
Right. Let's try one with timing. I told my wife she was drawing her eyebrows too high. She looked surprised.
That one only works if you pause just right after the setup. She looked surprised is the punchline, and it works because drawing her eyebrows too high makes her literally look surprised. It's a play on visuals and language.
Exactly. And this is why watching stand-up comedy or sitcoms can be really helpful. You start to notice how timing and delivery shape the joke.
And let's not forget, accents and word stress can also change a joke completely. In English, if you emphasize the wrong word, the joke might not land. Like in this one, I didn't say she stole my money. Depending on which word you stress, the meaning changes entirely.
Yes. That's actually a really cool sentence. Want to try it out?
Sure. I didn't say she stole my money. Someone else did. I didn't say she stole my money. I never said it. I didn't say she stole my money. Maybe I implied it. I didn't say she stole my money. Someone else did. I didn't say she stole my money. Maybe she borrowed it. I didn't say she stole my money. Someone else's money. I didn't say she stole my money. Maybe something else.
See how the whole meaning changes just by stressing a different word. That's why tone and rhythm matter so much in English, especially in jokes.
And here's the thing. You don't have to be a native speaker to be funny in English. You just need to understand the style of humor, and then slowly start experimenting with your own jokes or stories. Even simple wordplay or observational humor works.
Absolutely. Try writing your own puns or finding memes and translating them into English. Or better yet, follow English humor accounts on Instagram or Reddit. You'll learn fast and have fun doing it.
Also, don't be afraid to ask someone, "Hey, what does that joke mean?" A lot of English speakers will be happy to explain, especially if it's a play on words or a cultural reference. That way, you start building a humor vocabulary.
Yeah, and once you learn a few common joke structures, like, "Why did the chicken cross the road?" or "Knock knock," you'll start spotting patterns. For example, the classic pun setup, "I used to be a banker, but I lost interest." It's not just about banking, it's a pun on losing interest, both emotionally and financially.
And there are tons of jokes like that in English. Another example, "Time flies like an arrow. Fruit flies like a banana." The first part sounds logical, and then boom, the second part completely flips the meaning.
That's called a garden path joke, where your brain is led in one direction, then suddenly taken somewhere unexpected. It's confusing but funny once you get it.
Exactly. And once you recognize the trick, they're easier to understand. Even if you don't laugh the first time, just recognizing the twist is a big win when you're learning a language.
You can even try practicing with joke books or apps that teach English with humor. Some apps give explanations for jokes so you can see the pun or cultural reference behind it.
Or try watching cartoons like The Simpsons or Phineas and Ferb. They are full of kid-friendly jokes that still use wordplay and timing, but they're easier to follow than fast-paced adult comedy.
Also, pay attention to the audience's reaction when someone tells a joke. That helps you learn which types of humor are more universal, and which ones need more cultural context.
And don't forget, sometimes the best way to learn humor is to laugh at your own mistakes. English jokes can be tricky, but that's part of the fun. Every misunderstanding is a chance to learn something new, and maybe get a few giggles along the way.
That's so true. And honestly, one of the best things you can do is just observe and absorb. Watch stand-up comedy with subtitles at first. Read comments on funny videos, those are packed with slang and quick jokes that give you a real sense of how humor works in everyday English.
Yeah. And don't forget about memes. English language memes are like little windows into culture, sarcasm, and inside jokes. They are fast, funny, and very language rich. If you don't get one, just look up the meaning behind it. Reddit even has threads like "Explain this meme" that are super helpful.
Good point. And another tip, learn idioms and double meanings. Jokes often rely on those. For example, if someone says, "That's a piece of cake," and you picture an actual dessert, you'll miss the humor. But if you know it means something easy, you'll catch the joke when someone says it sarcastically.
Exactly. And watching comedy clips in short bursts can help. Start with something simple, maybe one joke at a time. Listen. Pause. Rewind. Ask yourself, why is that funny? Is it the word choice? The timing? The situation?
And don't stress if you don't laugh right away. Humor can be the trickiest part of a new language. It's like learning the local dance, you have to get used to the rhythm before you can jump in.
And once you do, you'll not only understand the language better, you'll connect more deeply with people. Because humor isn't just about laughing, it's about bonding. When you share a joke, you share a moment.
Absolutely. And it's those shared moments that really make conversations memorable. Think about it, When someone cracks a joke and you laugh, even if it's just a small chuckle, it tells them, hey, I get you. That kind of connection can break down barriers fast.
Yeah, and even if you don't land a joke perfectly, people usually appreciate the effort. Trying to be funny in another language is a big confidence move. You might mess up a punchline or mix up words, but honestly, that's part of the charm. And sometimes the fail becomes the funniest part.
Totally. One time I said, I'm on cloud 8 instead of cloud 9, and my friend couldn't stop laughing. It actually made the moment even better. Mistakes are just new doors into learning, especially with humor.
I love that. Also, practicing jokes or funny phrases with friends can make them stick better. It's one thing to memorize vocabulary, but if you connect a word with a hilarious moment, you won't forget it.
That's a great tip. Oh, and here's a fun trick: watch the same comedy clip more than once, like a sitcom scene or stand-up bit. The first time, you're just trying to understand. The second time, you start picking up on the timing and delivery. And by the third time, you'll catch details you totally missed before.
Exactly. And you can even try mimicking the rhythm. Like pausing the clip and repeating the joke the way the comedian said it. That's a sneaky way to train your fluency, tone, and flow.
Yep, because comedy isn't just about words, it's about how those words are delivered. Timing, tone, facial expression, they all matter. And when you practice that, your overall English skills level up big time.
Yes. And you know what else is helpful? Learning about common joke structures in English, like puns, knock-knock jokes, or those classic, why did the chicken cross the road, types. When you understand the pattern, it becomes easier to predict the punchline, or at least follow along.
Oh yeah, and don't forget sarcasm. That one can be tricky. Sometimes it sounds like someone's being serious, but they are actually joking. It takes a bit of time to get used to that kind of humor, especially when the tone is subtle.
Right? Sarcasm is like the ultimate test of cultural context and listening skills. A lot of times, it's not just the words, it's the tone of voice or the facial expression that gives it away. So if you're watching movies or shows, pay attention to those nonverbal cues.
Totally. And it's okay to ask questions too. If someone tells a joke and you don't get it, you can always say, can you explain that one? People usually don't mind, and it can turn into a fun learning moment.
Yes. That's how you learn. And sometimes when someone explains a joke, you not only get the vocabulary, but also a little piece of the culture. Like understanding why something's funny in that context.
It's like unlocking a secret level in a game. Once you understand a joke that used to go over your head, you feel more confident. It's proof that you're becoming more fluent, not just in the language, but in the culture too.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to try telling your own jokes or funny stories in English, even if they're simple. Humor is such a human thing, it connects people instantly. And the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes.
That's a great point. Even simple, silly jokes can be a great way to practice. You don't need to be a stand-up comedian, just trying out light humor helps with timing, confidence, and creativity in speaking.
Definitely. And humor isn't just about jokes, it's also about playful language. Like using exaggeration. I was so hungry I could eat a horse, or making fun of yourself a little. It makes conversations more lively and engaging.
Yeah, that kind of humor makes you relatable. People enjoy talking to someone who doesn't take everything too seriously. Plus, when you use humor, you become more memorable in conversations.
Another tip is to follow funny English accounts on social media or YouTube. There are so many creators who use humor to explain English idioms, grammar, or cultural situations. You get to learn and laugh at the same time.
And don't forget about memes. They are full of wordplay, slang, and current cultural references. trying to understand memes is like solving a language puzzle. And once you get it, it's really satisfying.
Yes. Just remember, some humor might not translate well, especially dark humor, or jokes based on stereotypes. So it's okay to observe first before jumping in with those.
Good advice. Start simple, enjoy the process, and don't worry if you don't catch everything right away. Understanding humor takes time, but when you get there, it's such a fun part of learning English.
Exactly. And you know what else helps? Watching sitcoms or comedy shows with subtitles. Shows like Friends, The Office, or Brooklyn Nine-Nine have a lot of situational humor and wordplay. You can catch on to patterns and learn how jokes are structured in everyday conversations.
Totally. Sitcoms are a goldmine for learning casual language, idioms, timing, and emotional expression. Plus, since the characters and settings are consistent, it's easier to follow the humor even if you don't catch every single word.
Also, trying to retell a funny scene in your own words is a great exercise. You don't need to be perfect. Just practice describing what made it funny. That builds both your storytelling and speaking skills.
I love that. And if you're in a class or language group, you can even share jokes or funny stories during icebreakers or discussions. It lightens the mood and helps everyone feel more comfortable speaking English.
Yes, and laughter is universal. Even if the joke doesn't land perfectly, people appreciate the effort. Plus, mistakes often make it funnier, and you learn from them.
So true. And remember, humor reflects culture. By understanding it, you're not just learning language, you're learning how people think and communicate. It brings you closer to native-level fluency in a really natural way.
Right, and if you're ever unsure about a joke, or why people are laughing, don't be afraid to ask. A simple, "Can you explain that?" or "What does that mean?" can actually lead to some really fun conversations and deeper cultural understanding.
Exactly. People are usually happy to explain, and it shows you're curious and engaged. And sometimes, once you understand the joke, it actually becomes even funnier because now you're in on the play on words or the cultural reference.
Another great thing to do is follow English meme accounts, or humorous pages on Instagram or Reddit. The comments alone can teach you a lot about modern slang, sarcasm, and cultural jokes.
Oh yes, and Reddit has subreddits like our jokes or our English learning where people break things down. You can even post a joke you didn't understand, and someone will usually explain the pun or double meaning.
And don't forget puns. They're tricky at first because they rely on words that sound alike, or have double meanings, but the more you see them, the better you'll get at recognizing them.
For sure. Like the classic, time flies like an arrow, fruit flies like a banana. It's confusing at first, but once you get it, boom, light bulb moment.
Yes. And practicing those jokes, or repeating them to someone else, can really help it stick in your memory. It's one of the funnest ways to reinforce language patterns.
Definitely, it's a fun way to practice. Plus, humor is a great icebreaker. Imagine you're at a party or just meeting new people, throwing in a simple, harmless joke can instantly make you seem more approachable.
Exactly. It makes conversations lighter and more engaging. And the best part is, you don't need to be a comedian to enjoy humor in English. It's all about timing, delivery, and knowing when to throw in a light joke or comment.
True. And even if the joke doesn't land perfectly, don't worry. Just laugh with them or share a funny moment about how you didn't quite get it. People appreciate that kind of honesty.
That's the key. It's all about embracing the moment and not being afraid to look a bit silly. Learning through humor can make your English learning journey so much more enjoyable.
Absolutely. And as you get better, you'll notice your confidence growing as you understand more jokes, puns, and wordplay. You'll also feel more connected to the culture and to other English speakers.
That's right. And with all the different kinds of humor in English, from slapstick to dry wit to dark humor, the more you expose yourself to it, the easier it becomes to understand and join in on the fun.
Humor's a great way to make language learning feel less like a chore and more like an adventure.
Exactly, Leo. So, don't be afraid to laugh at jokes. Try a few of your own, and let humor be a part of your English learning. It's a fun and rewarding way to improve your skills.
And remember, it's not just about speaking well, but also about enjoying the process. So go ahead, embrace humor, learn with laughter, and see how it can help you grow your confidence in English.
That's it for today's episode. Thanks for joining us on this fun journey into the world of humor in English. We hope you found some useful tips and tricks to bring a smile to your language learning.
We'll catch you in the next episode. Until then, keep laughing, keep learning, and stay confident with your English.
Bye for now.